Hold on. I'll turn that down. Got it. Okay. Welcome everyone to our 4:30 p.m. joint work session between the Downtown Development Authority and the City Council to discuss the sunset of the Downtown Development Authority. I'm going to turn this over to the DDA's attorney, Marcus McCaskin. How'd I do?
You did great.
All right. Welcome. Marcus, will you use your microphone, please? Thank you.
Well, thank you. Thank you, Mayor.
Microphone.
Is that better? Can everybody hear me a little bit better?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Great. Well, Mayor, thank you. Members of council, thank you for being here tonight. Chair Gumelke and the DDA board, good evening. Again, my name is Marcus McCaskin. I'm the general counsel to the Woodland Park Downtown Development Authority. We have convened this joint work session really as an opportunity for you all to ask questions or kind of understand the process in how the DDA ultimately would sunset. So I'm here to answer questions. I think just by way of a quick overview, as you know, this DDA was formed in 2001, and then the original plan of development, which is referred to as the foundation plan, was approved in 2002. So at that point, under state statute, that triggered, because that plan of development had identified the ability for the DDA to capture tax increment revenue. The 30-year period for TIF started in 2002. So that's currently scheduled to run through 2032. Absent any further action by City Council to extend that TIF period, that 30-year TIF period will, by operation of law, just automatically kind of terminate at the end of the 30-year period in 2032. Now, what's interesting is that the state legislature in 2008 permitted DDAs by action of the City Council by ordinance to extend the TIF period for an additional 20 years. What's interesting about that additional 20-year extension is that the default statutory provision is that whereas right now the DDA is capturing 100% of the available tax increment revenue, during that first 20-year extension period, the DDA will only capture 50% of that. The remaining 50% of that increment gets distributed pro rata to the remaining taxing entities, which would include the city of Woodland Park as one of the entities, the county, the school district, the fire district, the health services district that operates the ambulance service. So all of those entities would start to receive a distribution of that increment revenue during that 20-year extension. So again, in order to, I'll call it sunset that the existing 30-year TIF period, there's really nothing that needs to occur because that will happen kind of by operation of law. So maybe let me pause there and see if there are any follow-up questions for me on that.
Council, any questions or any of you all on the board? I just would like to point something out. I think we had this conversation in the DDA meeting one day, but as I remember, and I think Aaron has confirmed with me, originally that the DDA's life was 25, and then by an action of the legislature or something, they got to extend another 5 years, making it 30, is what I understand. Because I remember when I was on staff, we had an extension at one time. Whether that's the truth or not, sometimes they lie to me, but I think that's what actually occurred. But it is 30 years at this point in time, which is what we're concerned about, I think.
Correct. And I think there was a prior legislative change kind of post 2002 where that period was extended.
Right.
Yeah.
Anyway, any questions at this point, Council?
Yeah. Excuse me.
Go ahead,
Marcus. So just to clarify, we're in capturing 100% of the tax increment financing right now?
That's right. Correct. And just rough ballpark numbers in 2025, I think that, and Aaron would probably have better numbers than I would, but I think that was just a little bit north of $1 million. And then for the 2025 taxes that will be collected in 2026 or next year, it's projected to be about 1.1.
And you have those numbers, Aaron, or were you planning on flashing those or presenting those?
I can if you'd like.
Yeah, I think it would be helpful. We've seen the DDA has seen these numbers, and I think you're going to go do all the way out to 2032, right?
I've gone through 2030.
Or 30.
20,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's right. Okay. So this would be the revenue, if you will, for the DDA over the next 4 years, 5 years, really. That's what I think, I've said publicly and to John before, I think we're doing great things now, with these dollars. And I look forward to doing that up until this until we do sunset it. But, I think there's some monies to be put to work for sure.
So Aaron, does some of the revenue doesn't, or let's say, not all of the revenue goes to the TIFs, correct? Part of it goes to the debt service, or does it just go to TIFs?
I'm happy to try to take a quick, so you're absolutely right. There are two bond issues that are still outstanding. There were
Right.
bonds that were issued by the DDA in, I believe, 2008 and 2012. So of that revenue that is received on an annual basis from the increment, there is approximately 385, 400,000. I'm looking at here to make sure I'm not getting these numbers wrong, but it's about $385,000 that is going toward debt service on those outstanding bonds.
Okay.
And then there's approximately right now about 300 or just north of 300 that's currently appropriated and earmarked for the individual redevelopment agreements where there is some pledge of the TIF increment to specific redevelopment projects that have occurred.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, and then there is what Aaron has called budget priorities. So then we do carve off some of those dollars for things like beautification, flowers, or have you.
How much debt does the DDA currently have? Where are we at on that?
Yeah,
You guys are throwing a lot at him at one time.
yeah, it's a
He's good,
But-
but he's not that fast.
stall a little more that we do. I think that the DDA debt will be paid off before 2030. So
Okay.
what you'll see is a bit of I don't want to say exponential, but it's a pretty good upward slope of revenue.
Especially once the debt service is paid.
Yep.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, right now, both of those bond series are scheduled to be fully defeased in, I believe, 2028.
That is correct.
Okay. And then after that, then all the revenue then just goes into the DDA general fund.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. The Teller County Treasurer pays the increment directly into a city special fund, which is controlled by the city, but for the benefit of the DDA.
Okay.
So one way to think about it is post 2028, there would be that additional $400,000 roughly in revenue that would be available for the DDA to pledge toward other projects or priorities that are outlined in the foundation plan. So for example, one of the big priorities outlined in the foundation plan is, public safety or pedestrian enhancements, safety enhancements within all of downtown. So to the extent that the city had a project or the city approached the DDA to partner with the city on making transportation improvements within the downtown core, those funds would be available for that purpose, for example.
In 2032, what happens to the revenue that's in the DDA account at that time? Where does that go?
Well, that's a good question. To the extent that, I think the priority or the goal for both the city and the DDA board working cooperatively, collectively over the next, call it remaining 6 years of the existing tax increment term should really be to try to identify projects that benefit the downtown to use that existing fund balance. Because if you do get to the end of that tax increment period and there are existing funds available in the DDA special fund, really, I think by operation of law, if you read Part 8 of Article 25 of Title 31 of the statutes, that money should go back to the 6 tax entities that have been foregoing some incremental revenue over that time. So if we got to I'm not saying this is gonna happen, but if we got to the end of 2032 and we had $1 million in existing fund balance, that money would be distributed pro rata to the county, to the city of Woodland Park, to the fire district, to the library district.
Yeah, no, it makes
Okay,
sense.
yeah.
Gotcha.
It could be a considerable amount of money.
Right, and that's why I think it's to the, really the city's benefit and the DDA's benefit to, I think, try to, over the next couple of years, identify projects where those funds can be utilized to accomplish some of the goals and priorities that are set forth in the foundation plan.
Okay.
Do the,
And Jeff, just one other facet of that, I think maybe you were asking about is once we stop interrupting those taxes at the end of the life of the DDA, where does that revenue go? It goes back to each of those tax
Yeah, the
jurisdictions that were
ambulance-
interrupted.
Yeah.
Correct.
Metco, ambulance, school district, county, city. Yeah.
Right, and just, I want to maybe take another opportunity to explain, because I know I said this quickly at the beginning in my introductory comments, but if the city council, right now, you're in the last 10 years of the existing tax increment period. So you are permitted to extend that TIF period if you were so inclined for an additional 20 years. If that additional 20-year extension happens, the default provision in statute is that the other taxing entities that are currently giving up some incremental tax revenue would be entitled to 50% of the increment.
Right.
So whereas right now the DDA is having 100% of the increment paid into the special fund, during that extension period, it would only be 50%. And the rest of those taxing entities would have additional taxes available. With that, I just wanted to make sure that
So
Would we do less than 20 years if that was an option that we wanted to consider? Or does it have to be 20 years or nothing for an extension?
the statute only contemplates a 20-year extension. However, I suppose that if you did a 20-year extension, for example, and you got to a point where the DDA no longer had any outstanding
Value.
debt, or if you had no outstanding other financial obligations, then the statute does also permit the city council to, I'll refer to it as a dissolution, right? You could dissolve the DDA, but you can't dissolve the DDA unless and until there are no outstanding obligations whatsoever. So
Thank you.
so you could theoretically, if you were in that 20-year period, but you said, look, we've done all the projects we wanted to, we've accomplished our goals, we haven't issued any new debt that has an indenture or repayment obligation that extends for that full term, you could theoretically, dissolve the DDA at that point.
Perfect. Thank you. Sorry, Catherine.
Oh, no, it's fine. That was half of the question I was gonna ask. The other half is, you said the 50% in state statute, could the future council make it 100%, or is it just straight 50%?
100% in which direction?
So you said in a 20-year extension, you said the 50% of the tax increment, instead of 100% like it is currently now. Is the 50% set in stone, or can a council decide to make it go back to the 100% like it currently is now? Does that?
It would have to be 50%.
Okay.
Is kind of the
Wow.
that's the statutory kind of default. You would be able to ratchet that up to 100%, but it would only be by agreement with each of those individual taxing districts. So for example, the city council and the city and the DDA would have to approach the fire district and the health services district and the library district to try to recapture that. Now, the other thing that's available, which I think is an interesting option, is that you could also say, you know what, we think it's more equitable if we have maybe something more than 50% go to some of these other taxing entities. I'm not saying that's what should be decided. I'm just saying that's also an option. But in that case, you'd have the 50% of the increment paid into the city special fund, and then the city would then, pursuant to whatever the terms of that agreement are with that taxing district, then rebate some additional portion of that 50% back to one of the taxing districts. Does that make sense? Okay.
So that's what we had to do when we created the district and put together all of that. Each of those districts had to agree to that interruption before we could proceed forward.
I know Aaron's still working on getting numbers brought up, so I got one more question. As it stands right now, I totally understand that no action taken means the DDA automatically sunsets in 2032, period. Is there anything current council could do to keep future councils from extending that?
Well, let me, the DDA as a corporate entity, a corporate body, will not automatically sunset in 2032. What will automatically sunset in 2032 is the tax increment.
Okay, gotcha.
So the DDA would still exist as a corporate body,
Okay.
and it would have its own independent board. It's just at that point, unless
The
that
financial
TIF period is
backing,
extended,
Yeah.
there's not a lot of revenue coming into
Sure.
the DDA. So at that point, they'd be dependent on grants or other sources of revenue. Now, I will just also mention that there is also an opportunity under state statute where, you could look at alternative funding mechanisms, right? I mean, it doesn't have to be a tax increment extension.
Okay.
There's also an opportunity to have an ad valorem property tax, not, of 5 mills that would be imposed within the boundaries of the DDA. However, obviously that would be subject to a Tabor election that would have to occur at some future November.
Sure.
Right.
Gotcha.
So,
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, we got numbers.
Yeah, so.
Yes, okay. Thank you for your patience. We had some technical difficulties in addition to me finding the numbers. So here we go. This is 26 through 30. We have the estimated TIF property tax revenues and then interest and some other items there. So you can see 26, we're looking at 1,104,000. And then when we get to 2030, we're looking at 1.2 million approximately. So it goes up about 3% a year.
Okay.
So, yeah, it's 3.5 million projected at 2030.
Yeah.
Projected.
Right.
And that's what Marcus is talking about. We figure out, we need, the DDA needs to figure out some projects, work with the city. I know Aaron's talked about approaching the DDA on a couple of matters. I know he's mentioned that here, so that there's opportunities there, but whatever goes away or whatever we use the DDA for, by 2030, you still have a pretty substantial number that would go
Yeah.
back.
This
Yes.
fund balance number Aaron's put up is really the meaningful, from my perspective, the meaningful number. That's
Yeah.
the amount we need to spend before their life is over,
Mhm.
as projected.
Or agree that it's just gonna go back.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Everybody gets a windfall in 2032.
Yeah, and when you look at it, the outstanding debt right now is about 1.15 million. We do have a number of projects that the DDA is looking at. I mean, there's a lot going on in the downtown right now, so I think that there's a lot of capital need that this fund balance could definitely be used for. I don't think that would be hard at all to when we look at
Yeah.
mobility and we look at some of these other projects to spend that down. So I think there is a lot of need there. And
Absolutely.
Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead. I didn't mean to cut you.
oh, I was going to say, and as Marcus was saying before, with that 50% option for 20 years, I mean, that's definitely something that we'll have to see where we're at in a couple of years, how much of those capital projects are actually completed at that point.
Is there statute on where the money's spent? Does it have to be spent within the downtown district? I would assume so.
Yes.
It does. It really should be spent within the boundaries of the DDA.
Yeah.
Which is larger than just downtown.
Mhm.
Right.
It includes some residences too, which is interesting.
It's an interesting footprint.
It was interesting putting it together.
So I know the DDA has debt service that is scheduled to be completed in 2028. How, out of the other obligations or grants, things like that, that the DDA has done, do any of those run past 2028?
The TIFs would.
But I mean, the monies that are coming out of the budget to support projects within the DDA, are any of those scheduled through 2028 or longer term?
I think the answer is yes. I think of those existing, I think we have maybe 6 or 7 total individual kind of reimbursement, redevelopment agreements. And a couple of those do have terms that extend beyond 2028.
I believe they're set to expire in 2031 in most cases. Yeah. And I think there's 7 of them right now, 7 TIF agreements.
That sounds right.
If there was a stomach by council to want to sunset the DDA earlier than 2032, could the existing fund balance be used to make those existing TIF agreements whole? Does that question make sense, or?
Like accelerating the.
Like, let's say we wanted to sunset the DDA, I'll just throw a crazy number out, next year, and we took the fund balance, and could that fund balance be used to satisfy the existing TIF agreements on record, or do those have to play out to 2031?
Well, I'd have to take a look at for the existing outstanding bonds, I'd have to make sure that they don't contain any sort of no call provision that would or there may be sometimes there's a prepayment penalty,
Right.
Or whatnot. But in terms of those agreements, I think we'd want to approach that somewhat cautiously.
Sure.
And the reason I say that is that in most instances, these individual redevelopment agreements have a max cap that has been established on the reimbursement.
Gotcha.
But there's only that true reimbursement is usually determined by 50% or maybe 75%, sometimes 25% of the actual increment that's generated from that specific redevelopment project.
Sure.
And in most cases, I'd say that the way that the math works out is that if you look at what that total payment will be over the remaining agreement term, it's gonna be quite a bit less than what the cap is established in the agreement.
Okay.
So I think we'd have to, I also don't want private developers to get some windfall of having something pay out that may have been, more than what they would have been entitled to had the agreement been.
So the math gets tricky.
The math gets a little bit tricky, but I think, could it theoretically be done? Yeah, yes. I mean, I think it would be largely an accounting exercise, but it's a possibility. However, again, right now you have, 1.1 projected to grow over the remaining existing increment period.
Mhm.
And those are revenues that, quite frankly, I think could be put to really good use by the city and the DDA for some projects that would benefit, the entire community.
Fair enough. But thank you.
It seems like it would be, because those calculations are done annually based upon what those taxes were actually paid.
Sure.
And so to know what those assessments are going to be and what those taxes will be in future years would be a guess.
Yeah, and as soon as you find a functioning crystal ball, let me know, kind
Yeah.
of thing.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Gotcha. Fair enough.
But Aaron, what is?
So what's on the screen right now is the
Yeah.
existing TIF reimbursements that we have on the books. These are the entities, and then those are the total reimbursements that would be allowable under. And that's the entire duration. That's not what's left. That was what the original agreements had in place.
Who is WP Association?
Yes,
That's Trail Ridge Apartments.
it is. Okay.
Wow. Okay. That number jumps off the screen.
And that was a very long time horizon.
Okay.
Yeah, that's over.
I think that was 20 years.
They get big checks.
We just paid. Yeah,
We just paid one, yeah.
But I will say most of these TIF reimbursements are structured where it's 75 to 50% at the beginning, and then it usually goes down in percentage. So a lot of them that are left are 50 to 25%. So
What's TME?
that is Taylor Mountain Enterprises.
All right.
Car wash.
Yep, car wash, yep. Yeah.
Oh, that's Taylor, yeah.
Taylor Mountain Enterprises.
And PMH,
Is the microtel.
thank you. John, did you have something you wanted to share?
I do not.
Okay, anyone else have anything? All right.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Just shout out if something comes up, really. I'm used to looking this way. that all you have for right now, council?
Yeah, no, this was extremely educational. Learned, I'll just admit, I learned 1,000,000% more about the DDA and how it works than I knew when I sat down tonight. So thank you so much for being here, Marcus.
Yeah, no problem.
Are we trying to reach any kind of direction or conclusion or consensus this evening on anything, or is this really just really a discussion and information?
It's up to you all.
Okay,
Yeah, I don't,
thank you. You made it so much easier.
I think from my perspective, no, I wanted to understand how the structure functions and what the current TIF agreements were. So Aaron, thank you for having that ready and to understand the financing as it sits today and projected. And so I don't think there's any action for us to take or now or in the foreseeable future for that matter, unless anyone disagrees. I sort of see this as a thing that takes care of itself kind of automatically statutorily, minus the corporation itself. So yeah.
We also have the opportunity for some significant investment in the district that will benefit everyone, actually. And
Yeah.
I mean, for just as an example, I see the planning for Bergstrom Park
Mhm.
and that investment is huge. And I think that's a perfect use, and that's my personal opinion, of those monies in conjunction with the city.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what projects we can come up with because I agree with something you said, Marcus, that it makes more sense to try to spend the money to better the community than kick it back.
So I don't know, just a curiosity question. In 2032, is it January, June, December? When does it actually expire?
Mhm.
Well, I'd have to go back and look at it, but I believe that the 30-year period actually would be for the 2031 taxes that are paid in 2032. So property taxes are remitted by the treasurer as they're received. I mean, this is boring, but under Title 39, right? The treasurer distributes tax revenue on the 10th day of the calendar month following the month in which the revenues are received. So for example, if you had a delinquent taxpayer and you had a property that went to tax lien sale, you may not see that revenue until December of 2032. But in my experience, usually your 99% of your property taxes are fully paid by, call it July.
July, right?
Yes,
Okay,
yeah.
okay. It was just a curiosity question more than anything. Thanks.
Did you have something you wanted to
So
say, Aaron?
is it 2032 taxes or 2031 taxes?
2031. Yeah, you guys flipped it.
I think it's 2031 taxes that
Okay.
will be paid in 2032.
So December of 2032 would essentially be.
Can I ask a question here?
Please.
Just kind of curious, who determines the projects and the expenditure? Does the city council have a say in that? Or is it just strictly the DDA board?
Well, it depends on the project. So for example, the foundation plan, the existing foundation plan and plan and development does identify numerous kind of public improvements that are also qualified, right? Pedestrian safety enhancements, park and open space projects. So if the city council and the city staff were going to propose kind of a joint funding arrangement for a specific project, then I think it would ultimately be both the elected city council and the appointed DDA board that would have to weigh in on that as a use of funding. So again, I think the foundation plan, when it was created, was set up so that both of these entities would function in a very kind of cooperative and does that answer your question?
Yeah,
But now on a specific TIF, redevelopment agreement, then that's something that is, that comes before the DDA board for approval.
Yeah, I've known about Charter 917, which doesn't allow incentives directed through the city.
Right.
So, and as long as I've been on the board, that the city didn't have any influence about how the money was being used. But you're saying that as long as it's going for a public use rather than an incentive, and that's okay to do that, then there's not a breach of the city charter.
No, because it's the DDA funds that are being utilized.
Well, there's also, just to be clear, the council appropriates all the spending of the money
That's
for the
correct.
DDA. So the ultimate decision from a budgetary standpoint and from the money being available to spend comes from the city council.
That's absolutely correct. So for example, in this past year, when the DDA's 2025 budget was originally approved by city council, we did not contemplate the micro grant program. And that's something that the DDA board elected to do in this past year. And after they made that decision, there was a recommendation that was brought forward to city council and a request to amend the budget so that we could have those funds appropriated for that micro grant program. And you know, I think John's been more involved in the rest of the board than I have in that. But from what I've heard, and you know, from what you know, from people in the community, it seems like it's been a good success, and it's something that I think may be an opportunity to do similar programs like that in the future as well.
And we do, I know that they do have a request in the DDA budget to continue that program again for next year, which is really exciting from my perspective.
It was a great program. Absolutely.
We are doing those ordinances this evening, so we'll have an answer to that post haste.
Okay,
My
well, I-
favorite phrase.
So you guys have your budget hearing
Post
tonight?
haste.
Yes.
We do.
All right, well, make sure to eat some barbecue then.
Yeah,
So you can do
exactly,
that.
exactly. Anything else from anyone?
I just have a question. If the DDA was sunset, is there another thought process in mind to make an incentive package for a new business that may want to come in or other projects? Would the city then?
We can't.
Right.
Our charter.
So,
prevents it.
right, so that needs to be thought of. I'm not saying I'm not for or against. I'm saying, but it seems to be a benefit to the community. I understand that the tax monies, I liked hearing that half of that money would only be available to us and that half would go back to the taxing entities. I liked hearing that. So I just want to, whether it stays or doesn't, I think it is a good program and it used well.
Yeah,
That's all I'm saying, used well.
Yeah.
So, and I learned too that we could change that number too on the tax. That made me, gives you something to think about. Because unless the city is gonna have something that's gonna incentivize new business coming in or new growth, then we might want to consider that the DDA does take that role. That's all I'm saying in extending it. I'm not for or against. I'm just saying, unless you have something to
No,
cover it.
I get your point. We're handcuffed. You're not.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Therein lies the
Yeah.
eternal struggle.
Yeah.
The exact reason why they were created.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, we tried to get that changed multiple times and here we are, so.
So
Right.
I have a question that just popped into my mind because our TIF right now is purely ad valorem tax TIF. There's an opportunity in the statute for a sales tax TIF. But can we change the nature of the existing TIF from ad valorem to sales tax? Or would that require us starting all over?
Well, in order to look at the sales tax TIF, you'd have to identify that in the plan of development, and right now it's not.
Okay.
So I think one of the initial steps would probably be to have that identified in an amended plan of development in the future. And then obviously you probably at that point, I'd have to give it some additional thought or research in terms of whether that sales tax increment. I think you'd probably be, even if it was authorized, you'd probably be locked into the existing
Ad valorem.
30-year term, and then you could always look at doing an extension of that. But that was not the sales tax increment was not contemplated
No, it wasn't.
when the DDA was originally organized.
Correct.
Yeah.
Just wondered if we were to extend, if we were have a mechanism that we could switch from ad valorem to sales tax for that extension period. But that kind of seems kind of fishy, but it just popped into my head. That might be an option. But Anyway, just put that in your.
Yeah.
Back
Yeah, I
in your
think
brain.
I
It's a
think it's
thought.
definitely an option. I think we'd want to probably have some fiscal analysis
Yes.
or some understandings of what, what the numbers would look like, right?
Right.
Because if right now, if we get to the end of 2032 and we're at approximately 1.4 per year being paid into the city special fund, we know that that will automatically get chopped in half and go from 1.4 to 700,000 just by operation of law, because the remaining
Right.
It goes back to
700,000
50.
goes back on a pro rata basis to the existing districts. If we looked at what the sales tax increment might be, it's going to be almost nothing probably in the first couple of years, because
Yeah.
your base
Right.
value of the sales tax collected will be what it is, and only if you have additional major retailers that are coming in within the DDA, they're going to drive the sales tax revenue up. So we just want to get an understanding of what those numbers look like.
I agree. Thank you.
And then would that be something that would need to go before the voters then too, right? If it was a tax increase?
I don't know.
But I don't think it's necessarily a tax increase.
It's a,
It's a reallocation.
kind of.
Yeah.
Right, it's really the city agreeing to forego that increment on the sales tax rate.
Oh, I got you.
Yeah.
Thank you for entertaining that thought
Yeah.
So back,
with me. Go ahead.
so back to the 20-year extension, is that an automatic or do we have to
City council has
have to do
to
that.
approve that by
Okay.
ordinance.
by ordinance?
So it's a
Okay.
decision of city council.
So it's not a voter's decision, it's just a by ordinance. For
That's right.
council.
It's a decision of city council. And then what's really interesting is the legislature allowed that TIF period to go from 30 to 50 years in 2008. And then in 2023, they also allowed there to be second and third 20-year extensions.
That was gonna be my next question. Was
but-
it one time?
No, it can be multiple, but what's really interesting is there's a mechanism in state law where the base year for establishing value automatically keeps advancing. So that helps.
resets.
It resets, and so that helps the other taxing districts as well.
Mhm.
And then there's also a provision in state law that says if you do that second or third 20-year extensions, then the composition of the DDA board at that point has to be a minimum of 9 members, and 2 of those 9 members have to be a member that's appointed by the Board of County Commissioners, and 1 member has to be a member that's appointed by the school district. And I think that's just the way of the legislature saying, look, if we're going to do these multiple extensions, we want to make sure that the major other taxing entities that are affected by these extensions have a seat at the table.
Makes sense.
Makes sense. but
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
I got one more, just
Yes.
kind of,
Please.
what is the appetite? What's the rationale for this review? I mean, is the council wanting to put DDA to bed, or what's the purpose of this?
Yeah, I'll speak for myself personally.
Please
I-
go ahead.
Yeah, I have no desire to extend the DDA past its current lifetime. I'm not a fan of tax increment financing. But I'm a kind of a classic conservative, low tax, no tax kind of guy. So for me personally, I wanted to understand how the sunset works, what's required, what's not required. Because I don't have any desire to extend it, but that's speaking specifically just for me.
I will agree with you, Jeff.
For myself, just being about 80% through the term of the TIF, I think it's prudent to start being a little more educated on what that process would look like and what the options are.
Well, just so you know, I agree with you. It's served its purpose and it's time to retire it. It's only as good as, well, there's a lot of room for problems. So yeah, I agree with you. I'm just trying to understand what the purpose of this was.
Yeah, and
What, this meeting, you mean?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, and I
I don't know who
think
called this.
Councilmember Bryant made a great point about, you don't want to have you don't want to be figuring out a plan at the last minute. So,
Yeah.
as much as 2031, 2032 seems like a long way away. I bet if we blink a couple of times, we'll be sitting in 2032. So,
I'm gonna try it. Right there.
It's still, yeah, it's still here.
I mean, for me, it's basically the same thing as everybody else, but more just, I'm trying to understand
Mhm.
the entire concept of the DDA, because I was here when we created it. I wasn't part of it, but it's been going on for a fair amount of time. So I personally just wanted to understand all of this. And this was great because I learned way more today than I knew when I came in. And I knew I mean, I knew.
Well, it's
the
important
basics,
if we're
but-
going to make decisions
Yeah.
that we have good knowledge to base our decisions on. And I think this has been a great education period for all of us.
And it makes answering the citizens' questions a little easier.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Anyone else have any comments? Questions?
No sense in.
Yes, Al.
Mark, in the event that the DDA board, the current status, does sunset, and we have existing agreements for development, can city council backfill it beyond 30 years on maybe an annual basis
Well,
without having the full DDA in
Yeah.
existence?
yeah, it's a good question. Again, let me distinguish between what I'll refer to as the sunset of the existing 30-year increment period. That will happen automatically
Yeah.
by operation of statute. If the DDA were to be dissolved or completely terminated as an entity, meaning the DDA no longer exists, state law allows that to happen, but only if there are no outstanding debts of the authority, or there have been essentially there's mechanisms put in place to make sure that all of those debts will be retired. So to answer your question, I think if we were looking at dissolving the DDA entirely as an entity, we'd want to make sure that we have, that would require the bonds to be fully paid off and would also require us to do some sort of negotiation of the remaining term on those reimbursement agreements. So I think the better plan, I think, and more understandable plan would be to allow the existing TIF period to automatically terminate at the end of the 30 years. Make sure that all debts of the DDA have been fully paid. And at that point, then city council's in a pretty good position where it's a very clean and easy decision to say, okay, there's no outstanding obligations. We feel like this entity has achieved the goals that are set forth in the foundation plan. We're either, we're not interested in extending the TIF period, so let's go ahead and dissolve or terminate the DDA. Does that help answer the question?
Yes, I'm just looking for an escape clause.
Yeah, so
we could, still honor some of the longer potential contracts that we might have for reimbursement.
Mhm.
With the aid of city council, even though they're not going to renew the
Right.
full DDA board, but that's not a good plan.
Yeah, I mean, really right now, I think, and Aaron, I don't know if you had that on one of the slides, but I believe right now we don't have any reimbursement agreements or redevelopment agreements that go beyond 2031. I
Yeah.
believe. So at that point, I think, and that's been, my marching orders, I think, from the existing DDA board is if we're entertaining any new redevelopment agreements within the remaining term of the DDA, we're not extending beyond that date,
Right.
just to attract, avoid that issue that you're flagging and saying.
Because I would rather stay in the parameters of the TIF agreements rather than getting involved in grant programs for stuff.
Yeah.
The TIF is the better way for us to go.
Yeah.
Rather than a grant.
So what's interesting, oh, sorry, John, you're gonna.
I was just gonna say,
Yeah.
so in other words, any new TIF agreements that we may or may not enter into would terminate at the end, financial responsibilities of that TIF agreement would sunset when DDA sunsets. The city would not be responsible for any of that. Nobody, that would be it. Say we agreed to $500,000 for somebody. but only 300,000 got paid out. The city then, or nobody is responsible for that 200,000. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay.
That's the way these agreements are currently structured, is that we have a maximum reimbursement cap that is established, but they're only entitled to the specific percentage share back through the remaining tax
Yes.
increment period.
Okay.
And then John.
Does that help that, Al? Does that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
John, I was thinking too that, so we can let the TIF expire statutorily, but still keep the DDA and then fund it. We could fund the DDA, right? The city can provide
Yeah.
budget.
Yeah, absolutely. The DDA is like
do
any other
whatever small,
corporate entity. So
you
you
know.
go out and
Is
apply
that-
for grants
Is
and
that a
try to
way
get.
around that? It
But-
sounds tricky.
But
So there are specific funding mechanisms, correct? It's not, the council can't just approve to give the DDA
tax dollars,
additional
no.
funding out of general fund. It has to be a specific tax revenue, I believe.
Well, you could, I mean, the DDA is allowed by law to accept, gifts or, or grants. So there could be, I think there is an opportunity. I mean, that's something we could look at, but if the,
Oh, that's interesting.
if the city, for example, was going to say, we want to provide $100,000 per year to the DDA to help them fund ongoing beautification efforts,
Mhm.
that would be an opportunity. However, I mean, at some point, the city might decide, well, we could manage the
Right.
beautification project.
I would say
That-
just as long as it's not used for any incentive or business
Well,
or
and
anything
that's
else.
where
Yeah,
you would put.
Because it would be tax dollars, city money that is governed by the charter, which does not allow that incentivizing of anything.
Absolutely,
Well,
and
yeah.
those restrictions would be put into the grant agreement.
Thank you.
And it would only be on an annual basis,
Correct. Annual appropriation.
yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I wanted to speak on the fact that I think the DDA has important work to do and important industries to support. I think there are still a lot of improvements left. And I don't think that it has done, perhaps it's changing the goals of the DDA, but I don't think we're done. Not to try to hold my position or anything like that, but I joined the board because I see so many holes in Woodland Park. There are real estate that stand empty. Walkability is poor. Friday, Saturday nights are really not busy. I just want to stick by that we still have things to do. And let's meet those goals before we, try to sunset the DDA, or at least let's have a plan for the community. I want to see money here, coming in, staying here, and people getting wealthy off of their businesses here. This shouldn't be a town where we have to drive down to Colorado Springs to get our goods, and to have our businesses and to have our families. So I would just say, let's stay focused on the fact that we have some major holes to fill and some great, huge opportunities to fulfill also. So that's.
Thank you. Thank you. Anybody else want to share anything? We still have plenty of time.
Thank you.
Deb, come on up.
I want to understand that 2032 is the sunset year. Between now and then, we would have 3 city council elections. So it would be the city council that would be seated in April of 2032. Is that correct? That will make that decision about sunsetting? That's what I want to understand.
From what I understand from Marcus is that the TIF revenue, unless a council takes action between now and then, that the revenue will automatically cease by state statute. The organization could continue at the pleasure of the council if that were the choice of that council at that time, I would believe.
So it actually would.
Council cannot bind a future council.
I'm sorry, my political mind is kicking in here. And so what I'm looking at is, if I understand correctly, it would be the sitting council in 2032. I mean, it will end at that point in time unless there's a decision to extend it by that council, correct? That will be a huge issue for that election.
We could extend it today.
You can extend
You
it
can.
today. Okay.
But at that time, if nothing has been done when that council comes, I would say that we cannot bind that council.
Okay. So you can extend it, but you cannot do anything as far as it'll just sunset on its own. Okay.
Statutory.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
and just to clarify, and this might help members of council and the DDA board, the state statute permits the city council to extend that 30-year period in the last 10 years of the 30-year period. So we're within that last 10-year period. So you could theoretically, agree to extend that now. But there's no obligation to do it now. You can do it. You can act on that at any point within that last 10 years.
But we cannot act on the decision in 32. Because that council will make that choice.
I think that's accurate. If you decide to take no action right now, one way or the other on the extension, and that still is an open question, then it would be a future city council that would weigh in on that decision. That's correct.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I got a question.
Yes.
Now, there's a TIF application presented to the DDA. I would assume we would approach that as if everything is ending in 32. If we accept a TIF agreement that would reach beyond that, I would think that we would be making a mistake. I mean, so would you agree that we should keep that as our goal, is to not have any TIF agreements that could extend beyond that?
And I don't think we have any authority whatsoever to do that right now. I mean, but right now, the only thing we know, the only fact that we know is that the increment period will terminate in 2032.
But as a responsible board, we should not plan.
Well, that will be my advice to the board.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Certainly to have that type of a window, to extend, if possible, the DDA. That's kind of important in the planning process in developing projects, because they're usually a multi-year project. So that's important to the DDA to have that type of a runway going forward.
I would agree. And that's how you would, in my opinion, I would see that being how you would structure any negotiation and structure any TIF agreement that you might be considering. And your council will certainly, I'm sure, guide you in that direction so that things are clean.
Yeah.
Certainly. In anticipation of what might happen. Anything else from anyone? All right. Yes, ma'am.
So the city would like to invite the council, the DDA, to break bread together. The food and barbecue are all in the planning committee. We have until 6 o'clock to meet.
Thank you. All right. Well, we're going to end this work session and break bread. And we will reconvene at 6 o'clock for the regular council meeting.
We're gonna have holy wine.
All that yelling worked. Thank you. All right, welcome everyone. I would like to call the December 4th, 2025 regular city council meeting to order. If everyone would, oh gosh, help me. Suzanne, would you call the roll, please?
Yes, ma'am. Mayor Case.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Nakai.
Here.
Councilmember Bryan.
Here.
Councilmember Gear.
Here.
Councilmember Jones.
Here.
Councilmember Smith.
Yep.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Would everyone join me in the Pledge of Allegiance, please? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, everyone. All right, item 3, ceremonies, presentations, and appointments. This evening, item A is presentation by the Woodland Park High School Madrigals with Jeff Hemmingson. He is the vocal music director at the high school. Welcome. Come on up, you guys. Good evening. Good to see you. Watch the chords, please.
I'm Jeff Hemmingson. I'm the vocal music director at Woodland Park Junior High School. And this is my madrigal group. And we are here to sing for you today. One of the reasons that we're here to sing is because so in 1994, the vocal music director at the high school, Morton Dixon, started a fundraiser for the choir program, which is called the Magical Dinner. And it's now been running for, this is the 31st year. This is the 31st year. It's really phenomenal. I mean, featured all of my amazing students, and we put on a dinner, we put on a show, and it's just a wonderful evening. So I invite you to join us for that. We'd like to sing some songs for you. Noel, 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 now rejoice, shepherds in the hill, sat among the silent children of its hope, Noel, have they been a Noel, 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 Noel. We are the folk on earth and God is sorrowing in fear. Noel, 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 Noel. Today the folk are raised it up and cast it down the proud. Noel, Noel, Noel. Noel, Noel, Noel. To Bethlehem, they all go to see a wondrous babe lying in a manger. Noel, Noel, this is Christ the Lord, so the masters all that bring Noel, and the Christmas tide has gone, and no one should be sad. Noel, 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 Noel. And we are the folk on earth, and God is sorrowing in fear. Noel, Noel. Today the folk are raising up and cast down.
Please, you can sing as many as you want.
Scratch the agenda.
Hark how the bells, sweet silver bells, all seem to say, throw cares away, Christmas ding dong, ding dong, ding dong, ding dong.
One seems to hear words of issue from everywhere. Oh, and the mountains in the sound oil dance all in his mind. While people sing songs of good cheer, Christmas is here. Ding dong dong, that was a song with treble ring, all caroling. Ding dong, ding ding dong. Ding dong, ding dong, ding dong, ding dong. One seems to hear words of good cheer from everywhere, filling the air. Oh, and they pound raising the sound, oh, and dance all in the town. While people sing songs of good cheer, Christmas is here. Ding dong, dong, time, song, ding dong, ring, all bells, ding dong, ding ding. On all they send on without end, their joyful tone to every year home. Ding dong, ding dong.
Excellent.
Thank you very much for having us.
Can the mayor get a picture?
Oh, ups.
Mr. Mayor, can I say something?
Yes, Steve, please do.
I was actually at that first presentation with Ward Dixon back in 1994. And also through those years, including two of my sons that were part of the Madrigals and numerous football players that I had that were part of the Madrigals ensembles. So madrigals are a very, intricate part of, my life. And I'm very, very proud of the madrigals. So if you ever get a chance to go to their dinners and such during the holidays, please do so, because it's really, really awesome. To the madrigals.
Thank you. Thank you. And Mayor, while we're waiting, I'd like to tell the students and the parents that every council meeting, when we're finished, gets uploaded to YouTube so you can get this video and watch it again and again and again. Not the council meeting, this part. So Kristen, I have a poster that if you would come and take to the back of the room, I just wanted to remind everyone of the 31st annual Madrigal Dinner on December 5th and 6th at 6 p.m. at the Woodland Park Junior Senior High School. There's a QR code on this poster that you can scan to get tickets. Thank you. And then we'll put that up at City Hall.
Zoom. Oh, yeah, I don't have the Facebook one. The reason I do Zoom is I can see here. This is right. This is the people. If they raise their hand or.
And I'm just going to give them a minute, council, to leave.
So this is the staff. These are the attendees. So this is the public.
Thanks again. All right, item 3B is sales tax update for the month of September 2025. Aaron, please.
All right, tonight I have for you am I working? There
Yes.
we go. Got to get a little closer. All right, tonight I have for you all the September 2025 sales tax update for sales tax received in October. Year to date, we are up 2.2%. So we did have a little bit of a better month in September. We were up 3.9%. We're up 138,000 over last year, which is 6,513,000. And last month was up about 31,000. Lodging taxes going about the same as it has been for the last year, so we're down 35.7% through year to date, even though the month says the wrong month there. Sorry about that. All right, and then we have the graph. I mean, we've been looking at this all year, but you can see that July, August, September, we're kind of a little bit going in. We were in that pattern where we were up 1 month, down the next month, and it seems to be steadying out now, where we've been up about 2% the last few months in a row. So hopefully that continues. I know with the SNAP benefits and everything for October, we haven't got those numbers in yet, but I do anticipate we could potentially see a dip for that month, but then hopefully it'll recover for the rest of the year. Any questions on anything there?
No, thank you, Aaron.
All right, thank you.
Council, you have questions for Aaron? All right, thank you, Aaron. Item 4 is additions, deletions, or corrections to the agenda. Suzanne, do we have anything?
No, ma'am.
All right, thank you. Item 5, the consent calendar. Council, we have one item A, excuse me, approval of the November 20th, 2025 City Council minutes. Suzanne, anything you'd like to share? I caught you off guard, didn't I?
No.
Council, I'd be looking for a motion or questions.
I'll make a motion for the approval of the November 20th, 2025 City Council minutes.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Suzanne?
Yes. Thank you. Case?
Yes.
Nakai?
Yes.
Bryant?
Yes.
Gear?
Yes.
Jones?
Yes.
Smith?
Yep.
Thank you. Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you, Council. Item 6, public comment on items not on the agenda. Do we have anyone signed up, Suzanne?
That's what I was looking at when you caught me off guard. We do. We have a lot of people signed up, but what I'm thinking is most of them look like they're signed up for agenda items. Am I incorrect with anybody? Okay, what is your name, ma'am?
I put up on the list, Elizabeth Hart.
Got it. Okay. I see your street, so I thought you might be here for one of the agenda might. Okay. Okay, well, we have Elizabeth Hortz.
Thank you. Elizabeth, if you'd share your full name and your city of residence, please.
Hi, I'm
Hi.
Elizabeth Hortz, Woodland Park, Colorado.
Thank you.
I was in here back in October when we rezoned our residential property to commercial to continue renting it as a short-term rental, like we've been doing for the past 20 years. That process was very forthcoming, easy to follow. And when you guys honored that at the hearing, I immediately went to CJ and asked him what my next steps were. And he said, your business as usual. I said, great, I can post my listing. He said, no problem. So then it was really odd when probably a couple weeks later, I had a huge cease and desist letter on my house. And I have to tell you, walking through what I then found out was getting a new short-term rental permit process was very challenging. So I'm here to ask for the support of the city manager, the attorney, anybody else. One person will tell me I don't have a business license. When I do have a business license, I'll give my business license. We paid for the business license. And they're like, well, we can't renew this because you didn't get the permit. I mean, it's just been so challenging. And I've called, I've emailed, I've been back and forth. It's just been a frustrating process. And I'm just asking for you to look at our documentation and just help us get this permit that they're denying based on not having a business license that I do have and not following the rules that I didn't know about. And the minute I found out about a rule, we've been trying to jump through every hoop, dot every I, cross every T. So just want to ask for that help and that attention so we can continue again to just keep doing what we're doing. So I'd like to submit my paperwork. I've also emailed it in, but do you mind?
Suzanne, can you take that and
Thank
yes,
you.
get that to Aaron, please? Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Anything else, Suzanne?
I assume Mr. Horowitz, same topic? Okay, thank you. That's it, ma'am.
All right, thank you. Anyone else in the audience wishing to address the council on anything not on the agenda this evening? All right, then we'll move on to item 7, unfinished business. We have nothing. Item 8, ordinances on initial posting. We have nothing. And item 9, public hearings. Item A is Pines at Tamarack subdivision final plat, A25-0247. A request by Tom Martinez, the applicant, and Pines at Tamarack LLC, the property owner, to plat 20.61 acres into 39 lots. The subject property is described as Lot 2, Block 1, Dayspring Christian Fellowship, also known as 205 Sourdough Road, in the Pines at Tamarack PUD Zone District. This is quasi judicial, and I know CJ Gates is at the podium. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Council. Again, this is a request by Tom Martinez to plat 20.61 acres into 39 single. Yeah, first and foremost, all noticing requirements for this item has been met, and staff has received no written public comments on this request. The subject property is 20.61 acres in size and is located in the northern portion of Woodland Park on the east side of Highway 67 and to the northwest of the Reserve at Tamarack subdivision. The subject property is north of the intersection of Highway 67 and Fairfield Lane, which is bordered by 67 on its west side and Sourdough Road on its east side. Shining Mountain Golf Course is located across 67 to the west. As seen here from the zoning map on this slide, the subject property is zoned planned unit development. In 2019, the first Pines at Tamarack Planned Unit Development Master Plan, which consisted of 26 single-family lots. The applicant has then gained extension of that approval of the preliminary plat and PUD in 2021 and 2023. Most recently in 2024, Council approved an amendment to the PUD Master Plan and the preliminary plat to increase the number of single-family lots from 26 to 39. And that was per resolution 922 series 2024. We have some site photos for you here. The top photo here was taken from the intersection of Fairfield Lane and Sourdough Road looking north. The bottom photo was taken from Sourdough Road looking west into the site. The top photo on this slide was taken from south of Fairfield Lane and 67 looking north and east. And last photo we have is the bottom was taken from the northwest corner of the lot looking south and east. So per the 2024 approved preliminary plat and master plan, the subject property is approved for 39 single-family lots and 9.09 acres of open space. On the right-hand side of the slide is the phasing plan that was approved in 2024 per the PUD master plan and preliminary plat. Phase 1 was the southern portion of the property, with the second phase being the northern portion. For this application, the applicants are now requesting a minor change in how the project will be phased. Due to the number of improvements needed for the project, the applicants are proposing to flip the phasing plan so the northern portion of the property is developed in Phase 1. And Phase 1 will include the northern 18 residential lots and all underground utilities, grading, drainage, and primary circulation infrastructure. And additionally, Phase 1 includes the required CDOT improvements to Highway 67, which you guys can see on the very bottom of your screen. And the remaining 21 lots will comprise of the balance of the development in Phase 2.
CJ, just while we're here.
Sure.
What is the CDOT improvement? Is it a decel lane?
Correct.
Okay.
Yep. Just in the northbound lane there.
Yep.
So this is a snapshot of the final plat of Phase 1 of the development, which again includes a total of 18 single-family lots. And this is a snapshot of the remaining lots, which will be encompassed in Phase 2 of development. A preliminary landscaping plan was approved with a preliminary plat, which is located here on this slide. A final landscaping plan that is consistent with the approved preliminary landscaping plan is currently under review, along with the rest of the construction documents. Per the condition of approval 4E of the preliminary plat and PUD amendment, the applicants will construct an access to Centennial Trail, which you guys can see that access point located in the red circle on the top left-hand side of your screen. The applicant was referred to the entities listed here on the slide. The Woodland Park Utilities Department commented and stated they are generally accepting of the proposed final plat, but is still reviewing the construction documents to ensure it meets all Woodland Park requirements. The Woodland Park Parks and Rec Board reviewed this item on November 12th and recommended to accept the park fees and keep the trail connection to Centennial Trail. The Woodland Park Planning Department has not received any comments from the fire department, but does need to follow up with them regarding fire hydrant locations. Planning staff analyzed this application through Chapter 17 of the Woodland Park Municipal Code. The full analysis was included within the staff report. All provisions listed on this slide comply, but I would like to call out the section 1724.090 on this slide, and the number of residential lots and availability of water taps was approved by the Woodland Park City Council and the Utilities Department during the 2024 PUD and preliminary plat amendment. The number of residential lots, which is 39, the applicants are proposing has not changed since that 2024 applications, and the Woodland Park Utilities Department is planning on serving those 39 single-family lots. Again, all provisions listed here on this slide do comply. And I would like to point out the last provision listed here on this slide, which is the park capital fees. The applicants have already paid those fees, and the planning staff received those in October, which was a total of $50,544. The Planning Commission saw this item on November 13th of 2025, and the Planning Commission recommended that City Council approve the Pines at Tamarack subdivision final plat, subject to the conditions presented by staff, and also that the minutes reflect that City Council approved tap management plan serves as the detailed, verifiable, and that's a tough word for me, guys. Sorry. I'm just going to skip over that one. Document of fulfillment of Woodland Park Municipal Code Section 1724.090.
We found his Achilles heel.
Yeah. I've had a great time here, guys. The conditions recommended by staff, we just have a few here. So number one, prior to installation of infrastructure, the applicant shall obtain a zoning development permit for infrastructure, which application shall include the final utility plan, grading, erosion control plan, final on and off-site street plan with profiles, approved CDOT access permit, and approved swamp. Again, these are pretty boilerplate, and I'm sure you've seen these a few times before here. So the applicants must adhere to all CDOT requirements. Prior to conveyance of any proposed lot, the applicant shall record a final plat, complete the installation of all required improvements, or enter into a subdivision development agreement fully secured with acceptable guarantees. All costs associated with the construction of the required improvements shall be borne by the developer. Repair and upgrade Sourdough Road to city standards for the full length along the eastern boundary of Lot 2, or again, enter into an SDA. And the last one that you guys don't see on this slide, I guess you do a little bit, comply with CDOT requirements regarding the deceleration lane on Highway 67. And the last condition we have here is prior to recording the final plat, the applicant shall submit covenants, which include deed restrictions that establish a homeowners association, a letter from the surveyor indicating the area of streets of the lots by zone and open space, and lastly, an updated title insurance commitment. So this concludes my presentation, Council, and I'm here for any questions. And I know we have the applicants here in the audience tonight, and I know they have a brief presentation for you as well. So
Thank you, CJ.
Yep.
Council, do you have questions of staff?
I just have one. It was just maybe it's more of a curiosity. Why did the planning commissioners add that section in to, about the water taps and let this be? Why did they do that?
Sure. So that section on your slide here, this was part of a new ordinance that passed, Karen, help me out, last year in 2024, or was it earlier this year? In 2025. So, you know, with that new water availability.
Yeah. Okay.
So part of that language in that ordinance that we have to have a verifiable,
Authenticated.
Sure. Document that
I helped you
states
out.
that, thanks, Mayor.
So you can keep your
Yeah.
job.
That states that the city has water availability.
Yeah.
So this specific planning commissioner that wanted that reflected in the minutes.
Perfect.
Just wanted to say, hey, we have a tap management plan. It is approved by council. Utilities is, you know, good to go with the 39 lots. So that's kind of where it derived from.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep.
Anything else for staff?
Yes, just out of curiosity, Why is one of the conditions recommended for covenants to be established that establish an HOA?
Sure. Yeah, so we always ask the applicants if they are going to have an HOA. And that's just so, the city cannot enforce HOA rules. We can't tell people what to put in their HOA rules. We just want to ensure that it's not less or less lenient than us, right? So if we have a setback of 8 feet for the side yard, we don't want them saying, no, your setback's only 3 feet, right?
Yeah.
So it can always be more strict, but it cannot be more lenient than our codes. Does that make sense?
It does. Wouldn't the city code supersede those HOA conditions regardless?
Not necessarily. Like chickens is always a good go-to that we always state when we're talking about this, So we say, hey, you can have up to 4 hens in this area, right? But if you're part of an HOA and they don't want chickens, that's, if you move into that area, then you can't have any chickens per your HOA.
So, and to pile on a little bit, those rules can be different, but the city only enforces the city regulations, and it's up to the HOA to enforce the HOA rules, the covenants and restrictions.
Okay, but I guess in the example where it was like a 3-foot setback compared to an 8 or whatever, wouldn't the city code supersede that at that point? Like they couldn't make it less restrictive?
Yes, it would. We just don't want to run into that situation where we're fighting with the homeowner saying, well, my HOA says this, but your city code says this. So we just always try to ensure that it's either the same as the city code or just more strict.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Anything else, council, before I call the applicant? All right. Would the applicant like to come up and address the council? You just give us your name and city of residence, please, and then proceed. Welcome.
Thank you. Tom Martinez, live in Castle Rock, Colorado. And I can authenticate that CJ has been great to work with. It's been authenticated. So love that guy. He's done a great job. You got a great staff here. So do we have our presentation on there? Just curious. Little duplicate. If not, then not a big deal. Oh, if you guys have it on your screens, then okay.
It's on ours.
While we're doing that,
There you go.
there we go. Cool. So I won't read the whole narrative, but yeah, we're really excited about being in Woodland Park. We've grown really fond of this place, and we're excited to be part of it. We partnered with the landowner who bought this property a few years back, maybe 7 or 8 years ago, and kind of as an owner's rep, helped him kind of figure out what the game plan was for it. Of course, things have changed a lot since that time. We went through COVID, and there was lots changed with the industry relative to interest rates and whatnot. So we saw the project as a great opportunity to introduce a little bit more density at this price point, which we see as a little bit of an opportunity zone. Kind of coming up the hill from Colorado Springs, I think there's a lot of people want to live up here, but it's hard to find, homes that are relatively speaking affordable, unless you really want to buy acreage and live in a nice custom house. Otherwise, you're kind of renovating homes, and so at this price point, we're kind of targeting. We just felt like some density was going to work really well here. So anyway, we're moving full steam ahead. We've got our early grading permit in hand. We're already starting to kind of do the survey work, and we've posted our escrow deposits to do that. So we submitted our initial draft today of the subdivision development agreement, and yeah, just working with staff on those details. So anyway, yeah, really excited about it. Next slide, please. So you guys saw the property. It's a beautiful piece of ground. We love it. One of the things we did want to maintain was the trees, and so one thing that we're really mindful of on the landscaping plan was to not, re-landscape this whole project. We want to use the natural resources. In fact, we're even, as we get ready to start, doing the demo on the street, cutting the streets in, we've got a real thoughtful plan around the reuse of those trees. Whether it's used for the site itself, whether it be BMPs that we use. We've talked to the lumber yard about what, sort of resources, maybe even giving away some free lumber, firewood to people who in need. So, we're gonna be thoughtful about the tree plan. We wanna blend in, and so anyway, okay, next. On the phasing, that was a question that did come up in Planning Commission. We didn't want to do two filings because we may just develop and build all 39, kind of contiguously. So, but the phasing allows us to kind of separate this if we had to. And so, putting most of the infrastructure in, getting the improvements in on the offsites, really important, I think. And the other thing with the phasing was, it was flipped the other way, right? Before, what my experience has been in 25 years of home building is that you want to work your way kind of out of a community, and the residents don't want to have to drive by and deal with all the construction traffic. So by kind of working our way out, there's a little bit less congestion that way. So plus we have residents to the north, and we want to be, respectful of them, get in and out as quickly as we can and be a good neighbor. So that's why we kind of flipped it. Next one. Yeah, probably a little repetitive here in terms of the utilities. We spent a lot of time with the staff on, what the best way to do this, and our drilling that's going to have to go under the highway for our water loop. So Kip's been really helpful with that. Next slide. A lot of grading. This is if you've never been on this site, it's got a lot of topography, especially right down the center of it. It's quite the property. So we got a lot of work to do. We'll be moving, a lot of dirt, moving things around, but no, it's going to be really beautiful when it's done. And access to that trail was really important. Part of the conversation. I remember in the preliminary plat, that was, open space was a topic, trails was a topic, and there was a few others that were really passionate, but I think we accommodated all that. Next. This might be just somewhat of an early rendition of what we're thinking about, but there's gonna be more of a mountain modern feel to these homes. I think for the city, we want to incorporate as much wood and as, things of that nature, but we also want to bring a little bit refreshing to the streetscape. So there'll be 3 or 4 plans that we'll build, different elevations. Our plan right now is to actually self-perform and build the homes. We've got a local GC partner here that we really trust and know, and we're going to be working with them on that. So, but we're going to manage the development. We think we'll be, through development by July or August of this year coming up, and with the idea of starting construction on homes, sometime this summer. So, so we're excited about it. Going to get rolling and bring some tax revenue to the city, and saw the slide before. Good job on that. So anyway, we're excited to be part of the growth of Woodland Park. So that's it for me. Any questions?
Thank you. Council, questions of the applicant?
Really?
Don't see anything. Thank you, but stick around. We might have some later.
You bet.
Thank you. All right. Anything else from anyone, council, before I open the public hearing? All right, then I'm going to open the public hearing portion of the public comment portion of this public hearing and look to see if there's anyone in the audience wishing to address the council with regards to this.
Mayor, I have some signed up on.
Do you?
Yeah.
All right, Suzanne, please.
So the first speaker is Kelly Bradley.
Welcome, Kelly. If you just give us your full name and city of residence, please.
Kelly Bradley, Woodland Park, Colorado.
Welcome.
Thank you. So I'm not as excited about this, nor do I find anything about this topic humorous, even though words can be hard sometimes. But thank you for the opportunity to provide public comment on this current development. I'm here on behalf of myself and a handful of other neighbors who can't be here because they're elderly and or ill at the moment, but some other neighbors are here as well. So as a resident of Kendora Lane, I am writing to formally express my concern and opposition to the proposed plan that would place 39 homes on a 20-acre parcel directly adjacent to our neighborhood. Kendora Pines is a small, quiet community of 10 homes, each situated on at least 1.5 horse acres where chickens would be allowed, designated intentionally to preserve the forested character, privacy, and rural quality of life. The newly proposed layout of the Pines of Tamarack stands a stark contrast to this long-established environment and would introduce a variety of negative impacts that must be taken seriously. First, significant increase to light, noise, traffic, and dust pollution. This forested land currently serves as a natural buffer for residents. Under the proposed plan, a new road would run parallel to property lines along Kendora Lane, bringing with it vehicle headlights, construction noise, and everyday traffic less than a stone's throw away from existing homes. With an estimated minimum of 2 vehicles per household, that's up to 80 vehicles. And a realistic possibility, as we saw tonight with a bunch of teenagers here, teenage drivers are included, which could increase it to as many as 120 vehicles. Traffic and dust on Sourdough Road would increase dramatically. This heightened activity brings additional noise, air pollution, and safety hazards for both the residents and the wildlife. Second, increased safety concerns. A jump of this magnitude in daily vehicle trips poses new dangers. More drivers equals higher congestion near property lines, determining the safety and tranquility that residents reasonably expect and currently have. Third, incompatibility with existing neighborhood character. Woodland Park's development standards require that new subdivisions be compatible with the surrounding area. Homes in Kendora Pines and Tamarack are intentionally spaced and integrated into the natural landscape. By contrast, the proposed cluster layout more closely resembles the dense patterns of Columbine Village. This will directly affect property values, markability. I attempted to sell my home 2 summers ago, and when people discovered these plans, they pulled out. And the appeal of the area for families who intentionally choose a lower density forest living environment. 39 new homes on 20 acres doesn't leave a whole lot of remaining trees. Fourth, deviation from previously prevented plans. It is important to emphasize that development of this parcel is not being contested outright. Residents fully understand that the land will be developed eventually, and we support responsible growth. Prior to COVID, the developer presented a plan for approximately 26 homes across the 20 acres. That proposal aligned far more closely with the city planning standards, neighborhood character, and the environmental considerations. It would reduce light, noise, traffic, density, and safety impacts by half. Unfortunately, the earlier design did still place a road directly along our property lines, in which we'd ask that the second entrance be eliminated to protect the integrity of our properties. The older plan also offered greater protection of wooded areas and posed far less strain on the city's ongoing water resource challenges. 5, protecting community character and upholding city responsibilities. The City of Woodland Park has a responsibility to ensure that new development complements existing neighborhoods rather than distract from them. The current plan, at an average of 0.175 acre lots, fails this responsibility when most homes live on 1.5 or more in Kendora Pines and Tamarack, and appears driven more by developer profit than by thoughtful community planning. A return to the original 26 home concept would create a balanced outcome, allowing development to proceed while maintaining the integrity and livability of the area for current and future residents. For those reasons, we respectfully request that the City Council halt approval of the current 39 home plan and require the developer to revise the proposal back to the previous presented lower density design. This solution protects the interests and residents, preserves the character of the area, and ensures responsible, sustainable development. Thank you for your time and your consideration in this very important matter.
Thank you.
The next speaker is Max Barker, excuse me.
Welcome, Max. If you'd give us your name and city of residence. And Nicole, would you please not put the timer on for these? That's okay.
Max Barker, Woodland Park. My main question is what is covered in the noise compliance reduction, which was listed?
I live north of where the road will be, so I want to know what kind of fence and when that will be put up.
Do you have that, CJ? Okay. Sir, would you mind coming up and answering his question? Do you have something he can share, you can share with him? Okay, thank you.
What was your question? The fencing and was the first one?
When the fencing will be put up between the property lines.
Yeah, so as part of the, can you guys hear me okay? Part of the landscape plan, I believe we're showing on that north side of the property, more of like a passive, type of fence scenario, like a split rail type fence. It hasn't been, I don't think necessarily, determined if we have to do anything different than that from a compliance standpoint. But as the developer, we have the option to look at those things. So at this point, other than just working with staff on, what the requirements are, relatively speaking, I think for the most part, I think what we see kind of in this area is a little bit more open, between lots. And then what was your first question?
How is that noise reduction?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I know we're a little bit further, just a teeny bit further, to the south. So there's a little bit more of a grade down. So we are seeing a little bit of that, relatively speaking, to where our home sites are going to be. And for the most part, I think most of the lots average around 12 to 13,000 square feet. So some are in the 20,000, so half acre, some are a quarter acre. And then somewhere in between. So, as far as where the home sites sit and kind of how far they sit away from your property, and I think you guys are back a little bit too. We feel like there's enough distance there that we won't have a lot of, and we expect this particular community to probably serve, a little bit more of a move up type buyer. So, maybe we'll see some families and, who knows demographically what we'll see in totality, but, yeah, I mean, it's going to be a nice community with nice homes, and we expect them to act and behave, appropriately and not, just make a bunch of noise and be crazy. So, from a lighting compliance standpoint, if we are adhering to dark sky, type designs, then, our lighting will be in alignment with that.
With the code.
So, yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate you answering those questions. Is there anything else that you would like to make comment on? We're not going to interrogate staff or the applicant, but
Yes,
we
ma'am.
would welcome your comments to the council so they can take those into consideration.
No, that's all for now.
Thank you, sir.
Mayor, the next speaker is Bob Wuckner.
Welcome, Bob. If you give us your full name and your city of residence, please.
It's Rob, I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm
I
sorry.
can't read the
Rob.
handwriting.
Yeah, your pen's bad.
Oh.
My
Well-
name's Robert Wuckner. I live on 1A Condor Lane. I've been there about 22 years now. Question for the developer. One map up here was showing how Fairfield was still in place. But the map I got delivered to me is showing that Sourdough is going to punch straight through the way it used to be. And that was changed due to accidents at that corner intersection. So are you guys planning on changing?
So we're not going to interrogate. You can address the council with your
Okay.
concerns and your questions, if you would, please.
No problem.
Thank you.
How far is the setback of the road to our property line?
Okay,
That'd be nice to know.
we'll make note of that. Thank you.
And then another
I'm sorry.
I was going to add with the, not sure, but when I was with the fire department here, we had a city ordinance about pine beetle trees being taken out right away. Unfortunately, that property is loaded. So I know we're going to lose a lot of trees there.
All right.
So
we do an annual survey. So staff has made note of that and we'll certainly pay attention to that area.
okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
No other speakers, Mayor.
Thank you. Is there anyone else in the audience wishing to address the council on this item? please come forward if you do. All right, seeing no one, I'm going to close the public comment portion of this public hearing. Yes. Oh, is there someone online? All right, then I have not closed the public.
It's Joe Fury.
All right, Joe?
I hear him. I hear him talking very faintly.
Joe, can you, if you're unmuted, would you just speak up a little bit, maybe closer to your microphone so we can hear you?
Okay.
There you are.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. I hear you now, Joe. Thank you.
Joe Fury. I'm a resident of Woodland Park. I just have a question, and I know you don't answer questions directly, but I'm a little concerned about dust, and I'm wondering if all the houses. What I heard was that all the houses in phase one would be constructed simultaneously, and I assume landscaped as well, as opposed to what I'd be more concerned if the lots were just going to be plowed for houses and then left until customers bought them. So I have a concern about, how long will dirt be exposed to potential becoming dust? And also, does that mean one phase will be constructed and the other phase will be left as is, or will everything be bulldozed down to dirt and left to stay for a long time? That's the end of my questions.
All right. Thank you, Joe.
Thank you.
Anyone else wishing to address the council? Yes, sir. Please, if you'd give us your name and city of residence, please.
Chad Thompson, Woodland Park.
Hello, Chad. Thank you.
My concern that I want everyone to hear is that when we saw this presentation earlier, we saw nothing but strategically placed pictures of paved roads. 100% of the traffic in and out of this neighborhood, including construction, is going to be accessed by Sourdough, which is a 2-lane dirt road. Just curious if that's kind of a city problem, builder problem. Is it ever going to be widened or paved?
All right. Thank you. From what I understood, there was a requirement for Sourdough to be paved up to the end of that development from Fairfield North. I believe that was presented in the staff report.
So that changed, though. Do we know if that's going to be happening after phase one? So the dirt road is going to be accessed entirely through phase one?
Yeah.
Okay. That's all I have.
All right. Thank you, sir. Anyone else wishing to address the council? All right, then I am going to close the public comment portion of this public hearing. And I'm going to look to staff or the applicant to see if they have any rebuttal or anything they'd like to share with the council. Yes, sir. Come on up to the podium.
Yeah, couple good questions there. On the home construction conversation, that'll be based on sales. So, we won't build 39 specs, at once. So it will be based on sales. Our hope is to have a lot of success here, but it'll be responsible. And it is very difficult to build that many homes at one time. So it'll be paced quite a bit. And then during phase one construction, there will be some equipment mobilization coming in and out. But the idea is to get that Sourdough paved. Unfortunately, you can't pave, under certain temperatures. And so we'll be subject to, unfortunately, probably the spring time. But we want it paved as soon as possible so we don't cause, too many headaches for people. And the last final comment I just want to say is that we understand, I've done this a long time, and with both public builder world and small builder. And I'll tell you that we know development's hard. It's hard on everybody. And we're not motivated by the financial aspect of this. Primarily, we want to build beautiful communities. And that's why we want approval for this project. But we are going to be very respectful of our neighbors. In fact, every one of them are going to have my direct contact information as the head of the operation. And so they will be able to contact me with questions or concerns. And if the guys are driving in too fast, we'll slow them down. And, it's a perfect process until you insert people into it. So that's, we have to manage people, but we have the right team to do that. So, we'll be responsible about it.
I appreciate you doing that. That's very generous of you. All right, anyone, a staff or any other comments from the developer? All right, council, do you have any questions?
Yeah, I should have told you to stay. Sorry. It kind of piggybacks off of Joe's question. Are you planning to remove the trees and do the lots as you build them, not all at once? Or how's that?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sorry I didn't address that earlier. So can we put up the map real quick of the community? So in order to get the infrastructure in the ground, we're really coming off the north, kind of west corner where the church property is at, or that little north corner. So there we go. So you can kind of see it up there, kind of at the top left. We're really kind of coming through there, and through that little alleyway, you can see where that cul-de-sac's at. So really, if you look at the cul-de-sac and the main streets, we'll call them the veins, the main arteries of the streets, that all has to get cleared, because we're going to have to put a big old bucket in the ground and put sewer and water in, right? But our plan is to leave where you see the lots is where the trees are going to stay there. So it'll be the builder responsibility at lot purchase, kind of like you probably see now with an infill lot, up the hill. You have to remove the trees to dig the foundation, but that's like part of our HOA, covenants are not formed yet. So I'm not sure whether we're going to have chickens or not, but I will tell you that we will be very strict about how many trees you can take down. That doesn't adversely affect the fire department's regulations. So don't care about insurance stuff as much. We want to maintain as many trees as we can. So, but the trees will remain on the lots that are until the builder decides to build a home there. Does that help?
Thanks.
Yeah.
Anyone else have
I'll
questions?
stay up here for a minute, just in case.
Of the applicant while he's at the podium. I see no one have anything now, but like I say, stick around.
Yeah, I'm here.
Stay tuned. All right, council, any other questions of staff or comments? Seeing none, then I would be looking for a motion. Don't jump too high too fast.
I am looking for it.
Okay.
This motion, does it need, oh, you got it in here? Yeah. So the motion itself, do we have to describe the water or is it already done? Okay, so we don't have to do that. No, I know. I just want to make sure because planning did their interesting thing. So I just want to make sure we weren't subject to that. All right.
Your motion should reference what's on the agenda.
Okay. Yeah, I move to approve the Pines at Tamarack subdivision final plat. A request by Tom Martinez and Pines at Tamarack LLC property owner to plat 20.61 acres into 39 lots. Subject property is described as lot 2, block 1, Dayspring Christian Fellowship, aka 205 Sourdough Road, in the Pines at Tamarack PUD zone district.
Subject to the conditions as presented by staff.
That's the other, subject to the conditions.
Right. Thank you. Is there a second? I will second. So we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion, council? All right, Suzanne, would you call the roll, please?
Thank you. Nakai,
Yes.
Bryant,
Yes.
Gear,
No.
Jones.
Yes.
Smith,
No.
Case.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion carries 4-2.
Thank you, council. And thank you to the applicant and staff and for everyone in their comments. 9B is approve ordinance number 1511, series 2025, an ordinance appropriating sums of money to various funds in the amounts and for the purpose set forth in the city of Woodland Park, Colorado for the 2026 budget year for General Fund 100. Aaron.
Thank you. There we go. All right. I have two budget ordinances for you all tonight for consideration. We have the general fund, which is first. I'm just going to read down into the record all the revenues and expenditure lines here. I apologize for that in advance. So for the general fund for FY26, we are looking at a budgeted revenues of $13,077,259. And then we have all of the different departments broken out here. But it's a total general fund expenditures and transfers out of $13,361,458. And I did want to point out in the budget book on page 22, we do have a fund balance reserve of 17.2%. Are there any questions that I can answer specifically?
So just an observation that we are budgeting to spend just a bit more than what we have revenues for that year, which would reflect that we would be using some of the fund balance that Aaron just referenced. About 300,000, somewhere in that neighborhood.
Correct. So we did have a projected fund balance at the end of 2025 of $5,506,815. And so we would be spending down a little bit of that money. And then we also do have the $2,750,000. Wait, did I get that number? Yes. $2,750,000 capital improvement reserve to do Meadowwood and pickleball courts.
Excellent. Thank you for that, Aaron. Council, any questions of staff? Nope, seeing nothing. Then I would then open the public hearing portion, the public comment portion of this public hearing, and see if there's anyone online or in the audience that wishes to address the council.
I have no one signed up and nobody online.
Thank you. Anyone in the audience wishing to address the council on this ordinance? Seeing no one, I will close the public comment portion of this public hearing and look to council for further discussion or a motion, please.
Yeah, I had a quick question, sorry.
Yes,
I
ma'am.
wasn't fast enough.
It's okay.
The 17.2 is pretty much, we want as a council to have at least 17%, right?
Correct.
Does this 17% include the mill levy as it was, or as it is, right?
We're looking at
As we're looking at later?
Yes, correct.
Okay.
It includes the mill levy resetting to our
To
regular.
our regular, okay, thank you.
Anything else, council? You're welcome.
With that, I'll make a motion to approve ordinance number 1511, series 2025, an ordinance appropriating sums of money to various funds and the amounts and for the purpose set forth below for the city of Woodland Park, Colorado for the 2026 budget year for General Fund 100.
That's second.
Thank you. Did I hear a second?
Yes.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion, council? All right, Suzanne.
Bryant,
Yes.
Gear,
Yes.
Jones.
Yes.
Smith.
Yep.
Case,
Yes.
Nakai.
Yes.
Thank you, council. Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you, council. Item C is approve ordinance number 1512, series 2025, an ordinance appropriating sums of money to the various funds in the amounts and for the purpose as set forth below for the city of Woodland Park, Colorado for the 2026 budget year for all funds except the general fund 100. Aaron?
Thank you. So this is the second ordinance. This is all of our funds with the exception of the general fund. And I will go ahead and read into the record all of the expenditures included in the budget here. So for the Downtown Development Authority, we have budgeted revenues of $1,104,938. We have total fund expenditures of $1,092,306. For the Culture and Rec Fund, we have budgeted revenues of $2,543,849. This is broken up between Park and Rec, which is $490,977. The Cultural Center, which is $265,451. The Aquatic Center, which is $1,038,193. And the golf course, which is $749,229, with a total Culture and Rec Fund expenditures of $2,543,849. And the reason it matches exactly is because the revenue shortfall that they have in each of those different sections, the general fund supplements. That's why it always matches exactly. The lodging tax fund, we have budgeted revenues of $235,000. We're using the existing fund balance of $86,770 for a total balance of $321,770, with a transfer of that exact amount to the general fund of $321,770. For the the Conservation Trust Fund, we have budgeted revenues of $75,300 and a transfer out to the Culture and Rec Fund of $75,000. All right, for Street Capital Improvement Fund, we have budgeted revenues of $3,388,700. We're using existing fund balance of $1,811,544 for a total source of $5,200,244. And this translates to a total street capital improvement fund of $5,200,244. All right, for the Stormwater Management Fund, we have $185,000 in budgeted revenues. We have $168,075 of expenditures. And we are saving that up for when we do larger improvements. Water Utility Fund Enterprise, we have budgeted revenues of $3,005,001. We have use of existing fund balance of $4,139,579 for a total source funds of $7,144,580. And we have a total water utility enterprise fund expenditures of $7,144,580. All right, for the wastewater utility fund, we have budgeted revenues of $3,099,259. And we have total wastewater utility enterprise fund expenditures of $2,770,906. Can I answer any questions?
Thank you, Aaron.
Appreciate
Any
your
questions? Any questions, council? All right, seeing nothing, I will open the public comment portion of this public hearing and look to the audience and online for any comments on this item.
I have no one signed up, Mayor, and no one online.
Thank you, Suzanne. Anyone else in the audience wishing to address council? Seeing no one, I will close the public comment portion of this public hearing and look to the council for further questions or a motion, please.
I'll take the motion.
Your mic.
Oh, here you go. I'd like to make the motion to approve ordinance number 1512, series 2025 as read.
Perfect.
Second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion, council? Suzanne?
Thank you. Gear,
Yep.
Jones,
Yes.
Smith,
Yep.
Case,
Yes.
Nakai,
Yes.
Bryant.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you, council.
Thank you, Aaron.
Yeah, thank you, Aaron.
We have item D, approve ordinance 1513, series 2025, an ordinance of the city council of the city of Woodland Park, Colorado, submitting a ballot question to the electors of the city concerning a stipend for the mayor and city council. Catherine.
Hello. Okay. So this one's a little unique from the Charter Review Committee, as it's not actually a charter change. The charter doesn't allow council to give themselves a stipend or a raise of any kind. But the Charter Review Committee seemed to want to do that. So because of the charter, we ended up doing it as a referred ordinance from the Charter Review Committee rather than us referring our own ordinance trying to get a raise. That was the intent of this. And so because the charter doesn't allow us to do this, we spent some time on this ordinance, and I think a few of the issues that we had in the past, as far as why we didn't get these passed in the past, was because the last one wanted to change the charter to allow us to give ourselves a raise. This does not do that. This would go to the voters. The voters would, if they would approve it, it would be set at a price, at a set fixed dollar amount. That would not change. There would be no COLA, there would be no increase unless the council or another charter review committee referred another ordinance to the voters to increase it. So that, I think, was a significant difference in the prior ordinances. And then the other discussion that we had from the committee was they felt that there were only 2 communities out of about 15 in the Front Range that don't pay, 2 communities outside of us that don't pay their councils, Green Mountain Falls and Monument. So they also felt that we should get a little bit. So I think that's it in a nutshell. Did I miss anything, John? Yeah. And then, the other thing was the dollar amounts that they came up with was an average in the middle between the low end and the high end. So that's where the dollar amounts came from.
The low end and the high end
Of the
research.
15,
Yeah,
of the
okay.
research, yeah, of the 15 municipalities in the Front Range,
Mhm.
including Teller County. So is it okay if John comes up?
I have them down under public comment.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
All right. So, I think that was it. Did I miss anything, Jeff?
The one thing I would add is that if approved by voters, this stipend would only take effect for those elected after the election in which the stipend is approved. So nobody up here would get the stipend unless they were reelected after the voters approve this concept.
Thank you. I always forget that.
Thank you, Jeff. I was going to say that too. All right. Council, do you have any questions or discussion? Sorry, I had a brain moment.
Do we just take a lump sum and not worry about it?
I don't think so. That's not what's in the ordinance. The answer is no. Thank you for asking.
So Mayor
All right.
Case.
Yes.
Mr.
I'm going to open the public comment portion of this public hearing and invite those in the audience that would like to talk to the council. I see someone strolling up to visit with us. Please, you can come to the podium. John.
In the meantime, Nicole is loading up his
good.
presentation.
All right.
And we
Welcome.
also have another charter review committee member watching this evening, Joe Fury.
Okay,
So
thank
he's
you.
with us as well.
Thank you. Joe, I'll get to you in a minute. John, welcome.
Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor. Council members, John Davis, Woodland Park in the Eagle Pines neighborhood. Was a member of the Charter Review Committee along with 3 other citizens and 2 council members here, Catherine and Seth. If anyone wants to throw darts at someone about the numbers here, then throw them at me. I'm the one who did the research here and discussed it with our fellow members there. Catherine and Seth, as I recall, abstained from any voting because they felt appropriately that it was sort of a conflict of interest there. But the 4 of us citizen members looked at data that you see on your screen there. We gathered a lot of data from a lot of cities, but these were the most applicable cities, if you will, the ones here in Teller and El Paso counties, and a couple of extras that were just outside, Salida and Castle Pines. Over my career, I did a lot of salary analysis and surveys and all. And in your situation here, your responsibilities can primarily be measured by the population that you serve, which you see on the chart, and the budget that you are responsible for there. And that includes not only your general fund, but all of your additional utilities and other funds there. And you see that for the cities they're represented here, Green Mountain Falls, Cripple Creek. You see the salary for the mayor pro tem, and the council members there. Cripple Creek is a very small city compared to us. Castle Pines, the gentleman mentioned before, and I'm sure that he's going to, once he starts that development, he's going to move here since it's going to be so good and he likes Woodland Park so much.
Manitou Springs, they do a very small stipend, if you will, there. Salida, more in at the range of our city here. 6,000 people and 27,000 or 27 million budget there. They pay their mayor, a stipend. I wouldn't refer to it as a salary, but $1,000 a month and $750 for their council members. So taking all of that information there, it seemed like 800, 700, and 600 were appropriate numbers for our community here. And I'd be glad to try to answer any questions there if you have any.
Thank you, John.
Thank
Council,
you.
do you have any questions for John?
No, but thank you for doing the research, John. Really appreciate that. I think that's very helpful.
You're welcome.
Thank you, John.
And I forgot to mention that all 4 of our citizen members agreed that these numbers were appropriate for our community here.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. I know Joe is online and was a member of the committee. Joe, do you have anything you'd like to share with the council? He's on mute.
I'm sorry, I was I had a side phone call here.
Oh, that's fine. Just wanted to be sure that you were recognized, Joe.
Okay, yeah, thank you. Like John said, I agreed that I agree that it's time for our city council and elected mayor and city council folks get a stipend. It's a lot of work you all do, and I think it's a reasonable amounts, and also has it for benefit of any other public people listening in. Was it mentioned that the stipend would only begin for newly elected people, council members and mayor?
Yes.
Okay.
Correct. Thank you. Our attorney did bring that up.
Okay. Okay, great. I'm sorry I missed that.
Thank you, Joe.
Okay, you're welcome.
Anyone else wishing to address the council on this item? All right, seeing no one, I will close the public comment portion of this public hearing and look to the council for further discussion or a motion, please.
I'd just, again, like to thank the members of the Charter Review Committee. I was weary of this when it was first brought up, but they did extensive research, not just on the counties or the municipalities that you saw listed here, but all throughout Colorado, and comparing our population and our revenue with those and determining these numbers. One hope of mine is that if this is passed by voters, it'll make service on the city council more accessible. There are lots of families in our community that don't have a lot of extra money, and potentially the 40 hours a month that gets spent on these duties, the meetings, the preparation, could be used by them to get part-time employment. My hope is that if this is passed by voters, it will open up the option of service to more of our citizens, and therefore get more ideas and more representation on our body. But thank you again to our Charter Review members.
Thank you so much, Seth. And yes, sir.
Madam Mayor and council members, I forgot to mention, I've served in communities for a number of years, as you have served here. And we all know that in service to it, there are out-of-pocket expenses that we each individually incur. Driving to meetings, these stipends are not meant to pay for a fair market value for time, if you will. But when you're home and you're working on city business, there are computer expenses, there are printer expenses, there are paper expenses, toner expenses, other expenses there, and all that these stipends are meant to just try to defray some of that cost. When I was working, I didn't get a stipend for that, but they paid me really well for it. So I didn't feel bad about it coming out of my pocket. But you folks don't get paid anything for it. And we're feel that this stipend is an appropriate way to try to offset some of those personal expenses that one incurs within public service.
Thank you for that. You are correct.
I like that. Even though it's not much, coaching, we got stipends. But, when we sat down and we broke down our stipend, it came out to 2 cents an hour for stipend for a coach. 2 cents an hour. So, we didn't do it for the month. Okay. So, yeah, it's a stipend, $600 to $800, but, it helps out. But, still, we're not doing it for the month. It's just something to help out.
Thank you, Steve.
So one other thing I did forget, just for a FYI, the total budget line item would be $25,200 a year to pay the 7 council seats.
Thank you, Catherine. Anything else, council? All right. Can I get a motion, please?
I'll make a motion to approve ordinance number 1513, series 2025, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Woodland Park, Colorado, submitting a ballot question to the electors of the city concerning a stipend for the mayor and city council.
Second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
Those lucky dogs.
Suzanne?
Jones,
Yes.
Smith,
Yep.
Case.
Yes.
Nakai.
Yes.
Bryant.
Yes.
Gear.
Yes.
Thank you, council. Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you, council. Item E, approve ordinance number 1514, series 2025, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Woodland Park, Colorado, submitting a ballot question to the electors of the city to amend the city charter to make non-substantive edits to and remove outdated language from the city charter. Catherine.
Okay, so I'm going to do this. The outdated language is the sanitation department that we no longer or have ever had. So it removes the sanitation department and the city manager's responsibility for the sanitation department. So that's the first one. The second one is what is it? It's the section regarding vacancies on council. The way it's currently worded, it says the mayor and or council can appoint. And the Charter Review Committee felt that that should be changed to the remaining council, not giving the mayor certain power. It should be an equal representation. So that removed that language in 2 separate sentences.
If I'd have known that, I'm just kidding.
And there was a couple punctuation corrections where it's colons and semicolons also. And that was it.
Thank you. All right. Anything else you'd like to have discussed before I open the public comment? All right. I'm going to open the public comment portion of this public hearing and ask if there's anyone wishing to address the council.
So, Mr. Davis, I had you signed up for all 3. Are you done? Okay. Okay. No public comment, ma'am.
Thank you. All right. Anyone else in the audience? Okay. I'm closing the public comment portion of this public hearing and look to the council for further discussion or a motion, please.
I'll make a motion to approve ordinance number 1514, series 2025, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Woodland Park, Colorado, submitting a ballot question to the electors of the city to amend the city charter to make non-substantive edits and to remove outdated language from the city charter.
I'll second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Suzanne.
Thank you. Smith.
Yes.
Case.
Yes.
Nakai.
Yes.
Bryant.
Yes.
Gear.
Yes.
Jones.
Yes.
Thank you, council. Motion carries unanimously.
All right, our last public hearing is item F, approve ordinance number 1515, series 2025, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Woodland Park, Colorado, submitting a ballot question to the electors of the city to amend the city charter concerning recall to provide additional time for the incumbent to resign before the city is required to conduct a recall election. Catherine.
So this just basically changes the amount of time from 5 days to 14 days, giving a recalled council member the opportunity to maybe think things through and not necessarily hot-headedly say, I'm going to fight. Because they may decide to fight, they may decide not to fight if you give them a little bit more time. So, and it would save the expense of a $30,000 special election. So that's the gist behind that one. Did I get? Okay.
Thank you. Council, any questions or discussion? All right. Then I'm going to open the public comment portion of this public hearing. And I see someone that's wanting to speak to us. Welcome, John.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Catherine was exactly right there, but the committee felt like that it was more appropriate to have 2 weeks for this serious consideration to either resign or to not resign in this situation, and that 5 days is really too short of a time for this type of a serious consideration.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else wishing to address the council online or in the audience? No one signed up. All right. Seeing no one, I will close the public comment portion of this public hearing and look to council for further discussion or a motion, please.
Make a motion. Make a motion to approve ordinance number 1515, series 2025 as read.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion, council? All right, seeing no one, Suzanne, would you call the roll?
Yes. Case?
Yes.
Nakai?
Yes.
Bryant?
Yes.
Gear?
Yes.
Jones?
Yes.
Smith?
Yep.
Thank you, council. Motion carries unanimously.
All right, that's all of our public hearings this evening. Item 10 is new business. Item A is council initiated zone district change for 309 Willow Street, Woodland Park, Colorado. Council, this is just us referring this back to the planning commission, and we really have no conversation or anything like that this evening. I'm just looking for a motion on this, please.
I'll make a motion to approve the council initiated zone district change for 309 Willow Street, Woodland Park, Colorado.
Second. Do we need to put, well, second, so we're seconded, but do we need to amend the motion to include the change from CBD to?
No.
You are, okay.
No,
just
thank
let
you.
that go. All right.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Council, any further discussion? No. Suzanne?
We missed the second. I apologize.
Me, sorry.
It's George.
Thank you. Nakai?
Yes.
Bryant?
Yes.
Gear?
Yes.
Jones?
Yes.
Smith?
Yeah.
Case?
Yes.
Thank you, council. Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you, council. Item B is approval of the Board of Review's bylaws and rules of procedure. Karen. Thank you, John.
This is the result of work by the Charter Committee earlier this year. That this was a question on your election here just at the beginning of November with regard to changing the charter to eliminate term limits associated with the various boards and commissions here in Woodland Park. And so that question was approved and the charter was amended. So now any limits on terms shall be as provided in the bylaws of the particular board or commission and then subsequently approved by City Council. So the first of these that we're bringing to you is from the Board of Review. These are the folks that hear requests to potentially vary a standard associated with the building code or review licensing, contractors' licenses, if there was an issue or concern. So in preparation of doing this work with these different committees, we reached out to the city attorney's office and asked for suggested language. And they provided two options. One is where there would be no limits on the number of terms associated with folks assigned to a board. Or the second option would be to put a specific number of terms that somebody could serve on that particular board and commission. So this went to the Board of Review at their November 20th meeting for their discussion. And you may recall the Board of Review is one of those committees that requires folks to have particular technical expertise in order to serve on that committee. So their chair, Mac McVicker, I'm sure has on several occasions talked to many of you and expressed his concerns about where are we going to find qualified people to serve on this board and committee. So that was part of their discussion on November 20th. And that board did decide to go with option 1, which is no limit on the number of terms, but the length of a term remains at 3 years. And so every 3 years, somebody's seat comes up for renewal. And per the city's current processes, they make a reapplication to continue on that board, and council interviews them and then makes that decision as to whether or not to reappoint them. So you still have that full authority to review somebody being on there at the end of each one of these terms. And so the other things that they looked at in conjunction with their review of their bylaws was they amended their meeting date. They had been meeting on the 3rd Thursday of the month at 3:30. But that gets a little challenging sometimes on the rare occasion that they're meeting and they run long, then it potentially backs up into work sessions and city council hearings or city council meetings. So the consensus of the board is to change that. So they will now meet the 2nd Tuesday of the month at 2:30 p.m. So that change is reflected in the bylaws. And then the third one is really just the title of these, because the charter specifies bylaws, and some of these committees actually refer to this document as a rules of procedure. This was one of those boards where it was a rules of procedure, but the title is being amended, so it now reads as bylaws and rules of procedure, just to take care of any questions somebody may have in terms of, does this meet the intent of the charter? So the answer would be yes. So you have in front of you that document that was reviewed and approved by Board of Review and signed by that chair, and we respectfully bring that to you, asking for your endorsement.
Thank you, Karen. Council, do you have questions of staff or anyone else? Or comments? Okay, thank you. I would look for a motion, Council.
I would make a motion to approve the Board of Review's bylaws and rules of procedure.
Second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Suzanne?
Thank you. Bryant,
Yes.
Gear,
Yes.
Jones.
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Case,
Yes.
Nakai.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you, Council. And item C is the item that was added to our agenda. That's why it's highlighted in red. It's approval of resolution number 937, series 2025, a resolution levying general property taxes for the year of 2025 to help defray the cost of government for the city of Woodland Park, Colorado for the 2026 budget year. Aaron?
Yes, and the reason this had to be added late is because we have to wait for the assessor's office to send us the final certification. So that's the only reason we were going to bring this regardless, but that's the reason why it was a little bit long. So I do have for you tonight, resolution 937. This is 2025 assessments for the 2026 budget year. Oh, and I see we didn't get this changed. So we're looking at the mill levy of 15.75, which is our standard mill levy that we have right now as a city. And the total assessed valuation net is $176,512,702. Do we have any questions on this?
And that net is net of the DDA's district, correct?
Correct, and I can put that up for 1 second.
And Aaron, we do have it changed here for the one side.
Oh, gotcha. I'm looking at the old one probably. All right, there you go. Okay.
Thank you.
So we can see our previous year's net taxable assessed valuation was $165,893,213. The gross for this year was $190,347,320. And then yes, if we take out that DDA TIF boundary there of $13,834,618, we come up with our net valuation.
Thank you. Council, any questions of staff?
Just for everyone's edification, we're not raising the mill levy. We're simply removing the temporary reduction. So for the public's sake, what was the temporary reduction?
It was it's been different in the last 2 years. So we did 2 mills last year and 3 mills the year before. And the year before that, we did none.
Perfect.
Thank you, Jeff, for that clarification. Anything else, council? If not, would look for a motion, please.
I'll make a motion for the approval of resolution number 937, series 2025, a resolution levying general property taxes for the year of 2025 to help defray the cost of government for the city of Woodland Park, Colorado for the 2026 budget year.
I'll second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Miss Suzanne?
Thank you. Gear,
Yes.
Jones.
Yes.
Smith,
Yep.
Case,
Yes.
Nakai,
Yes.
Bryant.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you, council. That takes us to item 11, which is reports. This evening, I have the community events, December 4th, 2025 through December 18th, 2025. Friday, December 5th from 3:30 p.m. to 7 p.m. at Memorial Park. Come join the city for Winter Day in the Park. This free family event is back again with another year of hot chocolate, petting zoo, elf scramble, tree lighting, and more. I look forward to seeing all of you there. No pressure. Saturday, December 6th from 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. is the Lights Above the Clouds Parade with the classic theme of Charlie Brown Christmas. Yes, there will be fireworks, a treasure hunt, crazy hat contest, and awards ceremony at the Ute Pass Cultural Center. There's plenty for the whole family to experience, and it's going to be great fun, and I hope it's not freezing cold. Tuesday, December 9th from 5:30 p.m. to 7 p.m. in City Council chambers will be the city candidate information session that was delayed from this week because of weather. This open house session will inform all potential candidates of the requirements, dates, and documents needed for the election process. That's what I have tonight, council. Catherine?
I just want to, for the last time again, reiterate my thanks to the citizens on the Charter Review Committee, Roy Casada, Joe Fury, John Davis, and Denise Fisher, along with Suzanne, who always does a phenomenal job giving us all the information, and Jeff and Aaron.
Thank you.
And that's all I have.
Thank you, Catherine. Seth, do you have anything to share with us?
I do. As of 6 p.m. today, the committee for Keep Woodland Park Beautiful has received 95 votes for the Keep Woodland Park Beautiful Annual Beautification Award. It's a close race this year. The top two contenders are 20 votes apart from each other, and voting is open through 5 p.m. tomorrow, Friday, December 5th. The winner will be announced and recognized at the December 18th City Council meeting. So please, if you're interested and want to contribute to that decision, make sure you cast your votes between now and tomorrow. You can do that by visiting the latest news at woodlandpark.gov and get your votes in. I'd also like to thank the Charter Review Committee for their thorough and thoughtful work. The discussion was always purposeful and respectful and really showed what happens when citizens with diverse viewpoints work together in the interest of all of our community and offer forward a kind of a shared vision for our city. I do want to encourage anyone who wants to participate in these kind of thoughtful efforts to apply to join the committee in its next iteration. I also wanted to thank the student performers again. They do a great job. My wife and I have had a couple opportunities to attend the Madrigal dinners, and it's a great night out. It's a lot of fun, and it's a great way to support our local schools. That's what I've got.
Come on. Thank you, Seth. Jeff?
Nothing other than I just want to give another shout out to Roy's Crew Barbecue for saving the day today. Delicious as always, and that's all I have.
Thank you, Jeff. George?
Yes, we had two meetings this week. We had Main Street, again, working on the strategic plan, but even more importantly, we're starting to build out the committees now that sit underneath the board, if you will. So a lot of the board members, of course, are jumping into the committees to get started. And then I think we have a list of some 13 or 14 volunteers.
That's great.
And then people showed up just to watch the meeting. So, and also participated, which was great. DDA, we did grant 4 more micro grants. These are delayed final reports, if you will, just because it took things get delayed. So 4 of those went out, and then 1 TIF for Trail Ridge, I think it was. Yep. And that was it.
Thank you, George.
Yeah.
Steve,
Yes,
do you have anything to share?
I do.
Excellent.
Okay. Already on.
I know, I saw the whole page.
There you go. A few things. Parks and Rec, yeah, let me take 2. Kiln has been purchased and installed at the art cabin. So watch for ceramic and pottery programs in our upcoming 2026 recreation activities guide, which is really cool. Partnering with the Woodland Park Hockey, not the Kiln, but the partnering with the Woodland Park Hockey Association to offer hockey skills and drills. Registration deadline December 8th. Youth basketball, 1st and 2nd grade co-ed and 5th and 8th grade boys registration deadline December 8th. Winter Day in the Park and city tree lighting tomorrow, Friday, in Memorial Park, 3:30 to 6 p.m. Hot chocolate, cookies, candy shoot, crafts, petting zoo, story time, and Santa. I will be reading 'Twas the Night Before Christmas. And Madam Mayor, are you going to be reading this year?
Yes, I am. Thank you for asking.
Well, there you go. And Woodland Park Aquatic Center, register now for the 2026 swim instruction classes. In November, there were a total of 2,471 check-ins, with 573 of those being daily entries. 15 birthday parties were hosted in November. And UPass Cultural Center, the Christmas tree is lit up and decorated, ready for all the holiday events. Community concert, open mic night, Wednesday, December 10th at 6 p.m. New Year's Eve tickets on sale now, 80s theme, and with the live music by Randy Stevens and the Groove Makers.
Yeah.
Keep those on your tickets or calendars.
Thank you,
That's
Steve.
all I got
That's all?
so
Man,
far.
all right. Anything else, council? If not, I'm going to turn to our city attorney. All right, Aaron?
Wow.
Just a couple of things. We do have some fun things going on with the PD, with everything going on this weekend. So we do
That's
have
right.
on Saturday from 1 to 3, we have Santa's workshop at the PD. You can come and take a picture with Santa. I'm sure that'll be fun. Chief, don't arrest
You gonna
anybody.
grow a beard that time quick?
And then next week is going to be Santa's sleigh ride around the city. So we're going to have the PD going out each night. So check Facebook, watch where Santa and the Grinch are coming around. So that should be a lot of fun. I did want to give a shout out and just thank our streets and facilities team for the work they did with the snow. I think it's one of the best responses I've seen since we've been here. So yeah, it's awesome.
Excellent, excellent. So Chief, are you Santa Claus?
Yeah.
You didn't think you were going to get out of here, did you? When you're done, Catherine does have one.
First, I'd like to thank the city manager for his authentic presentation of our authentic PD events. They've been authenticated for the past 3 years. Thank you. No, I'm not. And any indication that I was going to be is false. So I don't know, but you might see me. Sorry?
You're too big to be in.
Be lots of things.
You don't really have the hair or the.
I do not.
Right.
And it's all gray now because of my career, but it's okay. It's authentically gray. I'll leave it.
Thank you. Catherine, you had something.
Yeah, I just had a shout out to Deb. Were you going to be able to help me with another charter, or I'm sorry, another Blue Book? Thank you very much.
She's Cindy Lou.
Cindy Lou who?
Yes, ma'am.
Uh-huh. All right. Anything else? All right, then we are adjourned. Thanks, everyone.